what we're doing in these sessions is to build on last year's sessions. It's not to go in a different direction, it's to keep going in the same direction. Opportunity for you to reflect further and to take things a little deeper and a little further, and to give you practical ideas and practical information that you can use back in school, and activities and ways of going about it and creating the discussion that you can replicate if it suits you, or modify in the way that suits you. I am going to give you the handouts, and it will be this morning, but not quite yet. I can see people looking. Our aim is to continue building capacity and understanding and using key comprehension strategies. And this is what we're covering today. We'll review session 1 and then go through the federal review strategies in relation to comprehension. I know Lena has asked, how did people go and what did you do back at school? Is there anyone else who'd like to share something that you did in relation to week 1? Anything else? No? Dead silence? Okay, all right. Just reviewing and going over what we did in our first session, because it's been 2 weeks and I know you've been really busy in schools thinking about many things. We talked about our work and that as teachers we do need to have a knowledge of our students, a knowledge of teaching processes, management and organisation, and also down here this really important area of deep curriculum knowledge of content. And we acknowledge that that does take time to build up, that it takes time, lots of reading, lots of thinking and reflecting, lots of practice, but we do need that deep curriculum knowledge, and then the specialised knowledge of how to teach it, how to teach the content, and then knowledge of educational purposes and theory. What's the theory? Why are we doing what we're doing, and do we understand why we're doing things and what its ultimate purpose is? We talked about the concept of the more knowing other, supporting the learning at the point, the scaffolding is at the point of building on what a student knows and taking them to the next level, which means we do have to know our student and know what their learning need is, and then that knowledge becomes embedded, and we call that the zone of actual development. And we want students to be moving through that new learning at the zone of proximal development. It's embedded, becomes known knowledge, and becomes something that the student has as their zone of actual development. And as we said, Patrick will build on this model for us. We talked about the 4th grade slump. Who can remember, or let's have some sharing about what is the 4th grade slump? Yeah, the drop in comprehension that we sometimes find. We looked at the work of Chorl and how her work showed that in the 4th grade, this is American research, for us it could be the 4th year of school, grade 3, there we can find a drop in comprehension. And that did happen here in Victoria. When AIM was instituted, we had students, we were measuring through benchmarking. Then when we looked at comprehension through AIM testing in grade 3, we found many students were not comprehending as we might like them to. And Chorl's work talked about the causes as being fluency and automaticity as the first cause, and then students challenged by the number of abstract, technical and literary word characteristics. And then she talked about a teaching focus on comprehension instruction. And with that in mind, we talked through fluency, and that fluency is actually about phrasing, accuracy, rate, pausing, expression, automaticity, that we need to know this in order to teach explicitly for it with our students. We talked about having a really strong focus in Peter 2 on fluency, because we know it has an influence on comprehension. And we looked at some of the ways that that might be done, what fluency instruction might look like in a classroom, and talked about some explicit ways that we might focus on fluency comprehension, so that at that decoding stage, students are also working on comprehension at the same time. we developed an understanding that perhaps the more difficulty you have in recognising words, the more you avoid the reading task. The less you read, the less fluent you are, and the less you read, the less you learn. That concept of reading to learn and learning to read. Sorry, learning to read and then using your reading to learn.